What's happening, guys? Back today with another cross-verse video. Something that's a little bit left field. I'm not gonna lie to you. Wolverine is a fan favorite in the Marvel Universe, among the fandom specifically. And with the Deadpool and Wolverine movie right around the corner, what better time to do this than to cover, a Wolverine type video? Today, I have my boy Sage back with me. Say it again.
Yo, what's up, guys? Always glad to be on the channel. I'm looking forward to talk about some Marvel. We're big Marvel fans. We've talked about it a few times, but I'm glad to be able to hop on here with my boy Lightning and make some magic on here today, dude.
Yeah, because I've had some people in the comments, my latest videos, asked me to do some Marvel videos. So I thought, what better character to really start off with? Really, I did a couple of X-Men videos in the past, so I thought Wolverine would be like one that we could bring into the Naruto verse. I thought like Wolverine's kind of the centerpiece in the movies, at least. So it's like he's always the one being put in these extreme situations. So like, what better situation than to put him into on a mission to assassinate the Akatsuki, which is actually going to be like the scenario in pretty much all these fights. So like, for context, we're not going to do it as like a straight up one-on-one, like a round one fight. We might like mention those as a separate scenario in some of these, but we're kind of putting this as a scenario like what if Charles Xavier kind of sent Logan assassinate these characters, and due to that, we're going to give him some surface level knowledge as if he got a bingo book when he got into the Naruto universe. So like, he wouldn't know everything about every one of the Akatsuki members, but I think it'd be a little bit unfair if we didn't give him at least some surface level knowledge, kind of similar to like what all the other Leaf Ninja who would fight their respective Akatsuki members in the original series. Shikamaru was fighting Hidan after the first encounter. He got some surface level knowledge about Hidan's abilities work. People kind of knew some surface level stuff about Itachi. He has Genjutsu, some Amaterasu, et cetera, but not everything. So like, for example, Wolverine wouldn't know anything about Susanoo, from Itachi, wouldn't know anything about most of the Rinnegan abilities from Pain. Wouldn't know about Kisama being able to fuse Samehada, stuff like that. Just kind of making it as fair as we can for both sides of the spectrum. Sage, what you got?
Yeah, I think that honestly, in this type of scenario, we wanted to be able to talk about all the different aspects of what Wolverine can do, not just as a fighter, but also, tracking and his stealth abilities. Like, how many of these characters will he actually be able to track down and sneak up on in order to take them out, as opposed to how many of these characters, maybe their sensory is good enough to be able to detect him. So we thought that would be a really cool thing to talk about, and I'm excited to jump into it. I know that, in a straight-up fight, things might go a little bit differently, and we'll talk about that for some of these, simply because, obviously, all he can really do is stab people. So, it's a little bit more interesting to see, like, okay, can he track them down? Can he off them? And then if it breaks out into a fight, what would happen? At least in my opinion. But that being said, I'm ready to jump into the first matchup.
All right, so first up we have Zetsu, and in context, we're kind of also using Wolverine from the comics predominantly.
Yeah.
I now, don't give me like do us a favor, y'all, kind of give us a little bit of slack, because I myself am more of the X-Men purist from the movies. I have read the comics here and there. But the problem with the comics sometimes is that the comic book characters, adaptations of the characters, especially in Marvel, are all over the place. The power scaling in Marvel characters is a little bit more wacky than it is in Naruto. Just because there's so many events that happen where it's like, Marvel characters can never die. Certain characters are, you wouldn't think be planetary level, are planetary level. So, we're doing our best to try to keep it, as accurate as the comic book characters. We might mention the movie feats here and there, but for the most part, we are using the comic book version of Wolverine. So, up first we have Zetsu. I don't know. I think the best chance that Zetsu has is like if like 1,000 Zetsus are rushing Logan. Otherwise, I'm not sleeping on Zetsu, but Zetsu doesn't really have the output damage to, do much damage to Logan personally.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing, to kind of piggyback off of that and what you were saying right before with sort of what we're using for his scaling. Logan, in the comics he's pretty fast. He gets to high hypersonic, somewhere around like low relativistic most consistently. He's able to react to characters like the Hulk, like Thor on occasion. But he has difficulty tagging somebody like Quicksilver. So we can't consistently have him at like these FTL speeds, or he's not subsonic. He's somewhere in the middle. So he should be able to keep up with somebody like Zetsu and pretty much most of the Akatsuki members. But the big thing is obviously his durability and regeneration. Like, there's nothing that Zetsu has in his arsenal that's going to be able to do anything to this man. I don't know if you guys know this, but Wolverine's been punched into orbit and survived it. Like Wolverine has survived the bomb that went off in Hiroshima. Like, Wolverine is a different animal and the same beast. And so I just don't see Zetsu being able to do anything. And in particular, in an assassination mission, he could just cut off his head. And like, what's he gonna do? So I think this one should be pretty self-explanatory. You think anything else to add here?
Not really. I mean, like I said, best chances that he has like 1,000 Zetsu's backing him up. But even that, though, I feel like worst case, Logan could last for a long time and eventually tire out, maybe. But other than that, he kind of curb stomps Zetsu. So let's move right along to Hidan. This one's actually kind of interesting at first because they kind of have something similar kind of going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, their power kind of works a little bit different, but they're kind of synonymous in a way. It's almost like Deadpool fighting Ajax in the movie, because Ajax can't like feel pain, but at the same time he can still be injured, whereas Deadpool can just continuously heal. Kind of the same thing here, but the reality is that even if Hidan gets a drop of blood from Logan, what's he going to be able to do? He can just regrow his organs. Even if Hidan is serious from the get-go, like from the jump, and stabs his own heart to try to end the fight. I mean, Logan's had his own heart ripped out and still survived. So, I don't think Hidan's ritual jutsu is even going to do much against Logan. And again, that's if Hidan is serious. If he's playing around like he did with Asuma and kind of stabbed himself in the leg, and I know Logan's not like a tactician, but he's really not dumb. Like, he's actually pretty adaptable to most situations. And if he starts to pick up on the fact that whatever pain Hidan admits to himself is hurting Logan, Logan's going to immediately go for his head and just blitz him. So I don't think Hidan's lasting too long. I think the surprise factor will like make him last a little bit in the fight, but other than that, he's gotten...
I would offer a little bit of pushback on Logan not being a tactician. He is super smart. He's like a military mind, right? Because he fought in so many different wars. He was like a high-level, commander and things like that. So battle-wise, he does have some good tactics, but we see some really high-level intellect in Naruto. So relative to Naruto characters, he may not be like a super genius like Shikamaru, but he'd be able to figure something like that out with no problem. And also, it's like, okay, in an assassination mission, he's going to be able to sneak up on him just like Team 10 did. He's going to be able to cut his head off. And he would survive, but he wouldn't be able to do anything. And if by some chance Hidan senses him or something and he turns around and they start fighting each other, what is his scythe going to do against Wolverine's claws? Like, Wolverine will just cut straight through it. And Hidan has literally no ninjutsu aside from the ritual. So it's just, this is clip. There's really nothing that can be done. Like, he would probably survive, because he can't die except for by malnutrition. And so he would eventually die from that, but he loses this fight pretty bad.
I mean, Logan probably just dig a hole and put him in there, just like Shikamaru did, honestly. So, yeah.
Go from that, love.
Yeah, I'm your god now. So now we'll move on to Conan. Now, again, in the context of what we're talking about, this is assassination. The thing is, though, is like, depending on where Conan's at, it could be successful or it could not be successful. Because, as Sage mentioned to me before we started recording, she's not always in her paper form. So, and like we said earlier, Logan is fantastic, in stealth and whatnot. He's an animal. He's able to sniff out stuff and where people are and, kind of, attack accordingly. It just depends on where she's at. If she's in the Rain Village, she might be able to detect that someone's entered the village. I don't know if that would really necessarily apply to Conan. I wouldn't think it wouldn't. Like, I assume that she would probably detect someone's infiltrated the village the same way Pain probably would. But
And even if you want to say that she can't herself, Pain would detect it. And if we just want to have like a 1v1 battle still, you could just say Pain sends her to Logan. You know what I mean? So either way, he gets detected in the hidden rain for sure.
Yeah, if it was anywhere else, I'd probably give it to like Logan to be able to sneak up on her and just like take the W before she can even manifest her paper. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not sleeping on Konan. And it's just like she was pretty fast, at least in terms of, relative speed, because she was kind of keeping up with Obito for a minute. Whether or not he was underestimating her, you could say, like, I don't want to sleep on Konan. That's the point. But like, I don't know. I always kind of wanted to give it to Logan because, again, like we said earlier, he's pretty fast. Like, we're not sleeping on Logan's speed here. And again, he's an animal. He's quick to pick up on things and he's quick to capitalize on things. So I think in a stealth mission, if it was anywhere else but the Rain Village, he'd more than likely be able to get it done. But the fact that it's in the Rain Village, and she's probably predominantly in the Rain Village. How often do we ever see her out of the Rain Village, really? So I don't know. She does kind of hard counter Logan because she's able to fly. And
because she can disperse her body into paper. Yeah.
The only thing I could say for Logan is if he's able to outlast her in terms of like chakra reserves or energy, in general, because like, I don't know how long she can stay flying until her chakra runs out. You know what I'm saying? So like if it gets to a point where she's, kind of tired out and she can't fly no more, then he can, and Logan, assuming Logan's still up and moving, then he probably will take her head off. But yeah, I mean, do you think she has anything like in her arsenal that could really take Logan down to the point where?
The only thing that comes to mind is she could suffocate him. Like he mentions in the comic books more than once that a lack of oxygen can be a problem for him. But we've also seen him remain underwater and hold his breath for 15 minutes and be fine. So it's like, would she be able to detect his? Because we're doing burst equalization here, so like Logan would have chakra.
Yeah.
Would she be able to detect his chakra dropping to absolute zero? And if she can, then maybe she would be able to suffocate him, wait the 15, 20 minutes, whatever it takes, and then let him out. But if not, maybe she holds him in there for as long as she thinks she needs to, and then she just gets decapitated. Now, the thing about her, though, is it's really weird because, Obito was able to stab her with that metal pipe, but whenever she disperses her body in all directions, it's difficult for her to get cut. So I would say this was one of the more interesting ones because if it's not in the Hidden Rain Village and he does sneak up on her, which he would be able to take her out easy. If it is in the Hidden Rain Village, he'll most likely get a battle. If she tries to suffocate him, then she better hold on to him. Just keep him wrapped up like forever, just in case. And if she doesn't, then he has a chance to win. But I would lean Konan in this just because she can fly, she can, kind of counter the slashing, and she can also suffocate him. But it's not going to be easy. Like, it's going to take some time for her to figure it out because she'll try paper bombs and stuff first, and obviously he'll just heal from those.
Yeah, so I agree. I think I give it to Konan more often than not. I think that, like, if I were to do a 1 with 10, I think I give it to 6 to 7. Because I think, again, if Logan's able to outlast her in terms of stamina and she starts tiring out and can't fly no more, then I think he has a much better chance of actually, cut her head off or stabbing her. But I think Conan's got enough to, like you said, keep up and, try to suffocate at some point. So, yeah, I give it to Konan 7.
Yeah.
So now we'll move on to Deidara. Deidara is another hard counter. I'm not gonna lie to you, like, because again, he can fly. And as quick as Logan is, I don't know if I'd say I put him up at the same level as, like, I think he's like bare minimum, like a couple pegs below heavy Sasuke. Because I mean, Sasuke tried to speed blitz Deidara, and Deidara immediately avoided. And as soon as Deidara figures out that Wolverine's a melee fighter, like solely a melee fighter, he's gonna immediately take flight, and there's not gonna be much that. And unlike Konan, like, I don't think the C2 dragon has a duration of how long it can stay flying. So really, Deidara could just chill up there and start throwing, C2 bombs and C3 bombs. But now, the thing about it is, though, is like, I don't think C3 or any of the C2 bombs are really going to be able to outright kill Logan. Personally, to me. What'd you guys say?
Yeah, I mean, if he survived the bomb that destroyed Hiroshima, I think he can probably survive some C2 bombs. The weird thing here is, like, it really depends, to me, on how impatient Deidara gets. Because if he just sits up there and tosses bombs, and strategically like just kind of picks away at him. It's not going to put him down, but it could wound him enough to where it might open up an opportunity for him to, figure out how to maybe get one of the bombs inside of like his skull or something, and maybe that would work. But the one that we talked about before the video is potentially C4. Like C4 might be the thing that puts Logan down, but we don't really know, because so comic Wolverine has better healing feats than movie Wolverine. And movie Wolverine was getting disintegrated by Jean Grey and walking toward her, just like his skin just flying off his body, and still able to just like force himself, to heal. So while we do know that there are upper limits to how long he can continuously heal something, I'm not entirely sold on the idea that he wouldn't be able to heal faster than the C4 would be able to, destroy him. So it's kind of 50-50 here. I do think the fight would eventually get to C4, because C1, 2, and 3 are not going to do anything, and Data would have no reason to use C0. So C4 is really the only option. So I personally, I'm like, I don't know. I would just leave this one up to you guys, I think.
Yeah, me and Sage were kind of on the agreement of like this particular, like the C4 argument, that's up to y'all, because we're kind of 50-50 on it. We don't really know. We could see an argument either way, because again, I mean, the movie Jean Grey isn't as impressive as comic book Jean Grey, but it's still Dark Phoenix, and he, like Sage said, he was inches away from Jean, and she was actively trying to disintegrate him, and it wasn't working. So it's like, so yeah, that's up to y'all. But I don't even think...
Because Data would eventually, like, run out of clay. So
yeah,
it's like, that's what he would have to use C4, and I'm not sure if it would work. So I'm just gonna be Switzerland here, be neutral on it.
Yeah, because like honestly, I don't even think Z0 against Logan.
Well,
I mean,
yeah, if you say it's equivalent to a nuke, he's survived one.
Yeah, I'm about to say like so. Yeah. So if C4 can work, Data wins. If not, Logan kind of wins. So I mean, that's all I could say. This one's probably the only 50-50. I think we got it.
Yeah.
Next one we have Kakazu. This because I told Sage earlier that, and I think I was a little bit highballing Kakazu a little bit, and I kind of felt bad for doing so, because Logan's had a bad team is no joke. Because I was curious as to whether or not Wolverine's adamantium could be compared to on the same level of strength and durability as Kakazu's diamond morph. And now, to be fair to me, at first I was picturing movie Logan, not so much comic book Logan, because the comic book Logan is actually a lot stronger. But either way though, so I think movie Logan, I mean, if you want to say that one's strong, like one's weaker than the other, I think movie at worst, movie Logan's comparable to Diamond Morph, but no, freaking comic book Logan Wolverine adamantium is leagues above the Diamond Morph Jutsu. Like Diamond Morph is like a kitty scratch to the adamantium. So like, say what you got, like run down what like the Wolverine's capable of in the comics.
Yeah, man. I mean, his adamantium skeleton is so strong that Worldbreaker Hulk, which keep in mind, Worldbreaker Hulk stomped his foot and caused the entire eastern seaboard to fall into the ocean. Like this guy's different, okay? Like his scaling goes way beyond planetary. It's not even funny. And he's like pummeling Wolverine, and he says, "I know I can't kill you." So like he knows that he cannot sufficiently damage the skeleton to the point where he'd be able to get to the organs and actually kill Logan. So if he can't do it, I have no reason to believe that like anybody in Naruto is physically strong enough to break through it. And that's not the only thing either. Like we've seen him pierce people like Ultron, Thor, Worldbreaker Hulk, people that scale to literally galaxy plus levels of durability. So that would inherently scale the adamantium to the same sort of levels. So long story short, no matter how durable you think the Diamond Morph is, he'll put up his Diamond Morph arm and it's getting cut off. Like there's just nothing that he can do there. So durability-wise, Wolverine gets the edge, especially when you consider the healing factor side of things. But the real problem is going to be killing this dude 5 times before he figures out how to kill you. So do you think even in an assassination mission, right? Because the way I see an assassination mission going for Kakazu is the same way that it went with Team 10 when Kakashi put a Raikiri through his back and he still had 4 hearts. So even if he does that, because he's not going to know from the bingo book that he's got 5 hearts, even if he takes out one of them, how do you think the battle would unfold once Kakazu is aware of his presence?
Like we said earlier, Logan is, pretty smart. I think he might start to deduce the idea that, because once he sees like one mask falls and it's the same mask that he took out, he might start to think like, okay, maybe I have to like, start taking all of them out, one by one to finally do some damage to this guy. And at that point, I honestly think it's actually not going to be that difficult to pick them off, because, like, don't get me wrong, I think Kakazu can hold Logan off, because all those jutsu that Kakazu was putting out during the Team 10 fight, even Kakashi was saying they were high-level ninjutsu. So it's like, those jutsu are no joke. But the thing is I don't know if I can say they're stronger than Datara's C3 or C0. And like we established earlier, we agree that we don't think like a C0 or a C3 is going to be able to kill Logan. So I don't necessarily think that any of Kakazu's jutsu that he has is going to be able to outright kill Logan. Now, do I think it's going to be able to like do damage and like hold him off? Yes, but killing, no. And that's the reality is, no matter, I know, granted, we didn't get to see how long Kakazu can necessarily last in terms of chakra duration, but I'd be willing to say that Logan can last longer than Kakazu's chakra reserves can hold out. So I think eventually Kakazu's best chance is to go into his weird monster form. But even that, though, I don't know. Especially if Logan takes out the Earth style heart, like similar to how Kakashi did, that he's even more screwed because he has no durability whatsoever compared to Logan. So I don't know.
You could make an argument too, depending on how he strikes him. Like if he stabs him, then it would just take out one, maybe two hearts. But if he slashes him across the back, he might get all of this.
Yeah, that is true.
That'd be crazy. But also one of the things that I just thought about is, how do you think like the Jiangu like ability, like the taking people's hearts and taking their abilities, how do you think that would work against Logan? Because Logan would just like regrow a heart, but if he has Logan's heart, does he then get like his claws and his, like, not obviously not the adamantium ones, but like his healing factor? Is that something, because he steals people's power, right? Like that's what he does. So if he does get a hold of his heart, maybe you could make an argument that he ends up, now I don't think that would happen, because if these cords are going into Logan's heart, he's just gonna like cut them off.
Yeah.
But if it were to happen, then you have a situation where you have Kakazu with Wolverine's healing factor, and that might go crazy. But yeah, I don't see a way that he's able to successfully put Logan down. And Logan has fought for multiple days at a time in the comics, so I wouldn't be surprised if he just outlasts him here.
Yeah, I agree. I think for the most part, Logan does take this. I will agree on the point you just made. I think if it's the case where Logan can't regenerate like on the spot after his heart's being taken out, kind of similar to, I don't know if anyone's watched, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, but there's a point where like Roy Mustang takes Lust Philosopher's Stone as if it's her heart or whatever, and she just like manifests her own body once again, like right in the, like smack dead in the middle of the Philosopher's Stone while it's in Mustang's hand. So unless it's the same thing like that, then I think Kakazu could win by stealing Logan's heart and like putting it in himself or whatever. But other than that, if that's not how it works, then, and Logan can just regenerate like on the spot, then yeah, I think Logan takes this, more often than not. So I think at 1 to 10, I think I give it to Wolverine. 9 out of 10. I think there's that one chance that Kakazu could probably win, but other than that, I don't think he's got it.
Yeah.
So now who we got? We got Kisame next. This one, now, here's the thing. Assassination mission could work in Logan's favor. Like, honest to God, like, I don't know how Kisame's senses are when it comes to people like Logan, because we don't really see Kisame reacting to assassination missions, or, I mean, to be fair, we don't see many of the Akatsukis, really, aside from Hidan and Kakasu, reacting to sneaky assassination missions, but like, I wouldn't know. I mean, I assume that Kisame would probably pick up on the fact that someone's approaching him, maybe not.
Here's the thing, though. Wolverine has snuck up on powerful telepaths that can, like, sense minds around them. So you could make an argument that he can totally erase his presence. And so, like, that might be possible, but Kisame, then again, does have some pretty solid sensory feats, particularly, like, when it comes to B and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So, like, it might actually just come down to, like, a freaking one-on-one anyway, personally. Yeah. At this point. And if that's the case, I gotta be honest with you, like, unless Logan can outright just blitz Kisame in time and cut his head off, Logan might be in over his head on this one, because Like, Kisame's strong. His strength is no joke, and especially when he's used with Samehada. And, like, I think, from the get-go, Kisame's going to toy around with Logan, kind of similar to how he usually does with his enemies anyway. But I think, like, Kisame, like, with, Samehada, not fuse, but just in general, would probably give Logan a good, decent run for his money, especially with Samehada being able to absorb any kind of, like, possible healing factor from Logan. Because that's kind of like, even if you want to say he outright absorbs all of it, because I don't think he would be able to. I think once, like, Logan starts to see that his energy is being drained or whatever, his power is being drained, he's probably going to take a step back and kind of regroup his thoughts or whatever and try to act accordingly. But this one might come to, like, a battle of attrition, in more ways than one, in both of, like, stamina and outright just physical strength. And I think at a certain point, if Kisame sees the fight's lasting too long because Logan just keeps regenerating, even as fast or faster than Kisame can regenerate, then I think Kisame's going to go ahead and just summon the giant bubble. At that point, there's really not. I mean, he's pretty much in Kisame's ballpark at that point. So yeah, I mean, mobility in the water, Kisame's going to dwarf Logan. And even if, I'll give it to Logan. He'd probably act accordingly and adapt to fighting the water somewhat. But Kisame is going to. It's in his ballpark. It's in his region. Like, Wolverine's going to be overwhelmed at a certain.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's just like, and let's play this out in our minds too, right? Let's say that he does sneak up on Kisame and he is able to, like, stab him in the back or something. If Kisame is holding Samehada, he can just turn Samehada over to Wolverine and cut him, and Samehada would absorb his chakra and then heal Kisame. So, like, even in that scenario, I'm not entirely sure it will work unless he would just cut his head off. But then in a straight up battle, it's like, Logan is we're saying that we're giving him the bingo book so he has some basic level of knowledge, but he's not existing in the world of Naruto. He can't walk on water. He can't do ninjutsu. So what is he going to do if Kisame just floods the battlefield, merges with Samehada, and juggles him, and then swims up behind him, grabs him, and drains his chakra to absolute zero? Like, this is a real possibility. So yeah, as much as I love Wolverine, I don't see him getting past Kisame here.
And that's not even mentioning the fact that Kisame can make water clones, and even at 30%, Kisame's water clones that were probably, again, weaker than the 30% Kisame was able to hold off all of Team Guy, including Sixth Gate Guy. He did get beat, but my point is, like, he did pretty good, all things considered. So it's like, I don't know. I'd probably give it to Kisame on this one. I'd say, like, Kisame probably takes this about 8 out of 10 times. I think that's a good chance that, before the giant bubble, if Logan is quick enough to blitz Kisame and cut his head off, it's a win. It's a win. And I do think it's possible. But I also think it's more likely, though, that Kisame's, will be able to react. Because he fought B, and he was doing pretty well in terms of speed and whatnot. So I'd probably give it to Kisame. No, I'll take this one. So
yeah.
Now we'll move on to Itachi. Now, unfortunately for any Logan fans out there, Itachi. Now, I think that, like, the best case I can give for Logan is if we put sick Itachi, the one that fought Sasuke, in this fight. Sage, I know we talked about it earlier, but I'm a little bit scared to talk about, because, like, one of those things where, like, I'm a bad boy when it comes to scaling Itachi. Yeah, like, everyone knows. But, like, okay, so let's start off with sick Itachi. How do you think he does against sick Itachi?
Bad. So here's the thing. Even sick Itachi has great sensory capabilities. We know this for a fact. He's one of the most talented shinobi of all time. And so I don't see a way in which Wolverine, even with his insane stealth, actually sneaks up on him. Even if he does, I could see him having enough of a reaction to be able to, use a crow substitution or something, and then it just becomes a 1v1 battle. So either way, I think he's going to have to fight Itachi. And if you want to say, like, because of his powerful will and, psychic resistance training, he'd be able to resist some regular genjutsu, by all means. Tsukiyomi, I think he's probably getting hit by it. I will say he does have a very powerful will, and he can, he's been through several wars. He's lived for like 180 years, something crazy like that. So you might be able to say, like, even if he puts him through, like, the 3-day torture chamber that he did with Kakashi, Wolverine might come out of it and be like, is that it, bub? Like, he might be totally fine. But then what does he do against an Amaterasu? He's not healing fast enough to combat an Amaterasu that's stated to burn its target until it's completely gone or until the user turns off the jutsu. He's not doing anything against the Totsuka Blade. I mean, he's not getting through the Yadomir. Like, do I think he could claw through the Susanoo? Absolutely. But once Itachi gets serious, it's going to be really, really bad. So I think, honestly, he has too many win conditions to give Wolverine anything. And also, even with the higher end of Wolverine scaling to, like, low relativistic, he's still not faster than this Itachi. I mean, this Itachi was able to react to a light speed attack while partially blind and almost, like, on chakra level 0. So, I don't know. Like, there's nothing that I can do for our boy Logan here to get him over the hump.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's why I wanted to let Sage go first, because, again, I have a reputation about Itachi. So I totally agree. Like, I don't think that, like, and just honestly, I think Logan loses on tactics. I'm not saying, again, redundant, but Logan's no idiot. Like, he's definitely smart, but this is Itachi. And he's going to, I mean, personally, I think that Itachi's going to win this just through strategy alone. Even if he's sick and near blind, I still think he's got the reaction time capable of dealing with Logan. Like you said, even if Amaterasu can't, like, burn him up fast enough, compared to his healing factor, it's going to hinder his mobility to the point where, like, Itachi can just battlefield remove him with Totsuka Blade. And so, Tsukiyomi is probably a more win condition either way, because I think it just knocks him out. Yeah, it doesn't, quote, kill him, but it's going to definitely win the fight. So, yeah, even Itachi beats Logan. So, moving on to Sasori. This one's kind of crazy a little bit. I mean, it is, but it isn't. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, you think that because, like, someone like Sakura and Chiyo can, no disrespect to them, but, like, you think that if someone like those two could probably take on Sasori, with full intent with killing, them or not, you think that maybe Wolverine probably could too, but Sasori is no joke. Like, first of all, he's going to have to get through Haruka Shell, right? And here's the thing about Sasori and his poison. When it comes to Wolverine, I don't really know. This is something I told Sage, is I'm really kind of confused on, because if we use, like, 2 separate beats from the movies, I know we're using mostly comic book beats, but I had to bring the movies in a second. In X2, the second X-Men movie, when all the Stryker's men were infiltrating the mansion, they were shooting all the mutants with the darts, whatever, to knock them out. And I don't know what they were really filled with. You can something kind of like knockout liquid or knockout, pathogen or whatever you want to call it. And they were shooting everybody and they were knocking them out. But then Logan got hit with like 15 of them and was just shrugged it off like it was nothing. So there's that. And then, like, on the flip side of that, there's the movie The Wolverine, where the, like, python chick or whatever, the viper chick, like, slid something in Logan's throat to, like, casually reduce his healing factor. So Wolverine's immunity to, like, toxins or whatever is very iffy. I don't really know what to make of it half the time. Sage mentioned to me that he was able to resist some pretty strong poisons in the comics, so it's like, I don't know. I almost want to give it to Logan to be able to resist the poison, but Sasori's poison is not normal. Like, it's not Orochimaru kind of poison. It's different. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, according to, Sasori, you're going to drop dead in 3 days if you get hit with it. So, I don't know. This is like where, like, the difference in the universes might actually show more so than anything else in this video. So, Sage, I'm at a loss right now. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this one's really tough. It's kind of like the Data one. And by the way, if you guys can't tell, we're not doing this in any particular order because we don't think Sasori is stronger than Itachi. I know it's kind of been going in the pattern of, weakest to strongest, but I know somebody's going to say something about that.
I didn't even realize I was doing that. Honestly, I was just randomly picking them out. Yeah, don't take that seriously, y'all.
But yeah, at the end of the day, like, again, we're giving him the intel that you would get in the bingo book, sending him on an assassination mission. So he's going to, attack the puppet, the Hiriko puppet, and then that's not going to kill Sasori. So best case scenario for Logan, he does severe damage to the Hiriko puppet, and Sasori pops out of it. He's going to have his Akatsuki cloak on. Well, Logan's not going to be able to tell that he has this core that he has to attack. He has 100 puppets that he can use. If he nicks him with poison, it's not going to probably do much at first, but eventually over time, getting hit with more poison, taking in some poison fog, eventually that should take its toll. And also, this version of Sasori can literally fly. Like, so for me, it's just like, he's kind of a hard counter. I will say, if Wolverine is able to figure out where the core is, and if he is able to utilize, tactics and his speed to get close to Sasori, he might be able to get the core. He might be able to figure out that there is a core and then get it. But I'm not entirely sold on that, because it's just like, he would have to survive such a gauntlet going up to, and like, what is he going to do against the Iron Sand? Like, yeah, he can cut through it, but it can reshape itself and stab through him in multiple directions, and it's just like, I don't know, man. Like, he's getting hit with the poison eventually, and after he gets hit with the poison, even with his healing factor, he's probably going to go down within a couple hours.
Yeah.
Let's be real generous. So, yeah, I don't really think he has any legitimate win conditions without giving him like a lot of the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I agree. I think Logan. I think this might be the case where like Sasori, if the poison doesn't work the way we think it will, I think at best Sasori can knock Logan out at a certain point, because Iron Sand's no joke. So like, I mean, I'm not saying that the Iron Sand is necessarily stronger than the adamantium. I personally think the adamantium is stronger, but my point in saying all of this is that I think Logan will be able to, will tire out. And again, that's what I mean by Sasori being able to knock Logan out. I think Sasori's got way too much going for him in terms of duration of a fight, that I think Logan will eventually tire out and pass out or something. And that would be a win for Sasori, technically.
Yeah.
So, that I'm kind of leaning the same way. I think Sasori wins this. Again, because of knowledge, fighting Sasori is so chaotic. It's like you think you're on the edge of beating him, but then he pulls something out that you didn't see before. And again, like they said, if Logan doesn't pick up on the fact that you have to kill that, to destroy that heart thing he's got in his chest, people just don't understand like the psyche that it takes on you when you're thinking you have an edge over somebody, but they keep coming back. And so like, that's going to drain your mental stability going like further and further down, and that's going to affect your battle performance. So that's my point, is that you're just going to drive yourself crazy trying to figure out how to beat this guy, and in the meantime, Sasori's got the edge over you. So yeah, not to try to get too much into that, but I think Sasori wins about 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Now we have Pain, and this one's going to be kind of short. As strong as Logan is, he's not dealing with. I mean, Tendo Pain, I think, wraps him up with planetary devastation. If you really wanted to get down, like Tendo Pain.
I mean, like, he's, Chibaku Tensei is just a massive problem. Shinra Tensei and Bancho Tenin aren't going to really matter, because he's going to tank a Shinra Tensei, and then a Bancho Tenin is just going to pull him. But yeah, Chibaku Tensei is, it's kind of GG. I mean,
I'm not trying to be short about it, but like, if you really wanted just to get down to it, but like, if you want to be like a little bit more technical about it, the human bath can just soul steal.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Like, even if he hits him with a Shinra Tensei, and then like Logan like walks it off like a thug, and he's like walking back to him, Pain be like, oh, this guy has some level of regeneration, but he has no long range jutsu. Bancho Tenin, pull him into the human path. Human path rips his soul out. Like that's
really I mean, I'm not saying Wolverine would be able to impress Pain at a certain point. I don't think he's going to just like, I don't think he's going to make Pain think he can't take him or whatever, or thinking he's like, oh, this guy's nothing. But, I mean, like I said, he's a melee fighter. And once Pain realizes that, and that he can't kill him with, like, straight, that's like, that's just one attack. I mean, again, he's got planetary devastation to battlefield to remove him. So, yeah. So, Pain wins this one 10 out of 10. I hate saying it, but that's like getting to the fact that, like, again, no prior knowledge of how their field of vision works, and the fact that you can't take them down because they're corpses, technically. So, yeah. So, now we have Obito, and again, I hate to be short about this, but yeah, I think this ends even quicker than Pain.
So, think about it this way. There's not a single purely melee fighter that we have ever seen in Naruto that would ever be able to deal with him, and that includes 8th Gate Guy. Simply because the passive nature of his version of Kamui would just allow any physical attack to pass right. So, like, if 8th Gate Guy can't do anything to this guy because he has no other way to counter him, what is Logan gonna do? And then, like, all that's gonna happen is gonna try to slash at him. It's not gonna work. and then Obito's gonna teleport behind him and warp him into the Kamui dimension, and it's over.
Yeah.
So there's the, and I know it may sound like a hot take to say like Orange Mask Obito can beat 8th Gate Guy, but genuinely, just read the data book statement about his version of Kamui. It's automatic, it's passive, so all you'd have to do is like wait out the timer. I don't want to make this an 8th Gate Guy versus Obito thing, but any sort of melee fighter is not dealing with him. So yeah, it's not even a discussion.
Well, so I mean, that's pretty much going to be it for the Obito and Wolverine's action. Like, that's pretty much it for the rest of the video. So this one was kind of like, an interesting one. I'm glad that we were able to give Logan some wins in this video, because Logan's my favorite X-Men. So it was really nice. So like, in conclusion, he loses to the big three. I think that was going to be pretty obvious to most people. Kisame wins. Sasori wins. Dater is a 50-50, but he does beat Konan, Hidan, Kakazu, and Zet. I think that's gonna do it. I mean, Sage, you got anything to add before we wrap it up?
No, I just, it was I think Wolverine's a great character, but, every character has their limitations, and, ultimately the top tiers in Naruto are incredibly strong, so no shame in it, but he did really well. I think he may do a little bit better than people might give him credit for. But yeah, if you guys have made it this far, make sure that you guys sub to LightningSnow, hit that subscribe button, that like button, all that good stuff, and share with your friends that like Marvel and Naruto as well.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I'm going to be doing some more Marvel videos here in the future, hopefully crossing over with some Naruto or whatever. So definitely, if you all are wanting to see more content like this, make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you like and subscribe on Sage's channel too. He's making some great crossroads content himself, so be sure to go check his channel out. Thank you all for watching all the way to the end if you have. Until my next one, LightningSnow.